Hi, Zeus here. I won my level 17 boss battle. Over the last couple days, the meta at 3 engines in Season 18 has shifted, and I want to show you what's happening and discuss the tech tree and show combat with this new meta. So I just got my latest chest, and the tech tree at high levels of 3 engines is really interesting, and there's really 3 different paths that you can take. Each of us has pros and cons. So the first path that people like Opdestroy are taking is go through health pack and troop health first, and then boom cannon, because you only get an average of 2 attacks with all heavy rush, because most of your heavies are going to die with each attack. That path is not viable for people without instant troop training. And a second path, which I chose, was to go through Flare, Zuka, the defense node, to Dr. Kavan. A third path that people are taking is to open up the cryo bombardiers. The problem with the cryo bombardiers is that while they're certain to get a kill of the base, they are the slowest option. The problem with the troop health and health pack meta is that it requires all heavy rush to be successful. And with well-designed bases like mine, the all heavy rush is usually going to fizzle. The meta that I'm using with Dr. Kavan is heavy and Zuka meta, and I'm going to show you that with the combat that I'm doing. I want to note that all the global leaders are still in 3 engines, and there's zero benefit of going to 4 engines, because every time that you go up against a 4 engine player, you win.
Many hours later.
So after opening up that troop health node, I rose up to level 16 with 63 stars. And let's go into combat. I'm going to show you the combat meta and how we take down these advanced 3 engine bases. So I'm using a loadout of 3 heavies and 5 Zukas split into 2 groups. You've got an initial group of 2 heavies and 4 Zukas, and then a second wave of 1 heavy and 2 Zukas. In this case, with this base here, I'm actually sending them all in at once, and I'm focusing them at the middle of the base, because what's going to happen is they're going to essentially clear the middle and then divide and naturally split off, and they will, on the left, then migrate up towards the back of the base. And because this player has so many defensive weapons down on the bottom, it really won't take that long to clear the top of the base once my troops get up there. And I want the Kavan to go with the troops that are going up to the top, because they're going to be hitting the heavy mines and defensive weapons that are in the back there. And it's just not necessary to have Kavan help to clean up the bottom of the base. Now, with this kind of a loadout here, defensive base, you're going to lose a lot of troops if you wander directly through the minefield, except with heavies. So you've got to be really careful to do some flares to make sure that your heavies are the ones that go into the mines and not your Zukas. But you're going to lose Zukas. It's just inevitable. So you've got to have some second wind in reserve. Look, he retreated, so we've got this one. And you got to shock things as you come to them. The most dangerous thing for your offensive power is actually the mortars, and so I'm usually going to be shocking the mortars once the heavies are in range of the mortar with the Zukas in back, then coming into range of the mortar, because the heavies are out of range inside the donut hole. So this is the opponent here, and he's doing a classic delayed attack and using the cryo bombardiers. And this is just a great illustration. The cryo bombardiers are generally effective, but just slow. So with this victory, we're now only one victory away from getting the next chest, which will allow us to unlock the cannon. And that's our goal here, because we're going to change around our base design once we get the cannon in line with what the global leaders are doing. And I'm going to go back now and show you some of the combat that got me here. All right, let's go back into combat. This is a different kind of a base. He's got 4 mortars down on the edge of the landing area. And the key on this one is positioning the heavies so that the mortars target the heavies and not your Zookas at the beginning, and not having to waste any shocks on the mortars. Now, we did have a little bit of bad luck that Kavan drifted to the right and not to the left. But the cavalry's coming with a whole bunch of guys. Now, again, our guys are going to march right to their death if we don't flare. So we do a little flare there to regroup and break the spell of the targeting bug that sends them to that lower corner machine gun if we don't do anything about it, which would basically destroy the entire army. All right, now this guy, he's attacking my base, and again, he's using the cryo bombardiers. A little bit unusual there. He's spawning riflemen at the beginning. I don't recommend that because the riflemen just don't have the health. They do have some offensive firepower that temporarily will speed up your attack. But, once the riflemen get onto the mines or get in direct contact with my heavy defensive weapons, they're just going to, oh my God, this guy went right along the edge. Also, I don't understand why he would allow that to happen. He just forgot the flare or doesn't know about the targeting bug. So, take it. This is me doing a classic attack. Again, 3 boats of heavies and a Zooka. We clear out any defensive weapons that can pick off Zookas on our way by, and then we flare away. And because this guy doesn't have hardly any mines in the way, which is kind of a mistake in base design, in my opinion. Oh, I by accident double tapped the shock there. I hope this doesn't screw up the attack. Well, anyway, looks like we're gonna recover from that brutal error. Luckily, used up a ton of my gunboat energy on that one. That error. Anyway, so that's sort of a classic attack, and again, just showing you, it is faster than the cryo bombardier attack. Now this base here is also kind of poorly designed because it allows me to land my troops immediately without any delay with the attacking group on the left. And the way that I landed my heavies, I made sure that the boom cannon was attacking heavies and was taken out, and my troops split the way that I want them to split and not in a bad way. It's super critical where you actually position your troops on the landing strip in that case. And then here's a good example. I gotta shock that mortar, otherwise it's going to shoot over the heads of the heavies and wipe out a huge number of, and again, shocking that mortar of the Zookas. And again, I'm gonna lose some Zookas on the edge of that minefield. There's just nothing to do about it. But luckily, I had one respawn heavy go through the bulk of it and take the teeth of it, so that's good. And then now I've got my lower group, and I'm just gonna let the heavies walk through there because they're gonna clear a path for the mines, through the mines for my Zookas, and hopefully the Zookas can do some damage. The Zookas from the lower part can do some damage. Oof, lost all but 2, but anyway, they were contributing here, and it's a quick attack because he doesn't force me to delay the landing of my second group the way these guys base design. Now this is his attack on me, and again, this is sort of a classic attack. He's just going to rush by my defenses, but I'm forcing him to use up a shock on that, and then he's going to land his second group of troops on the right. And look at that, my 2 sniper towers actually drew the fire of one of his cryo cryo bombardiers, which is going to slow down his attack on the top. And it ended up getting killed anyway on a boom mine that's hidden behind my legendary statue. And he's still attacking the bottom. So anyway, too slow. All right, let's go into live combat now. And if I can win this, I can get to level 17. So this is a relatively difficult base because of the way the mines are laid out in the back. There's relatively few defensive units on the bottom right, so I'm only going to need to worry about sort of landing the one boat of heavies and one boat of Zookas there. And again, I want all 6 of my initial troops plus Kavan to go to the back, and I'm going to flare them back to the back. And I flare them along the edge there because then the heavies are going to spread out and take the brunt of those mines. And I land the heavies first so that there's no chance that my Zookas are going to take the mines when they get triggered on a delayed basis by the heavies as they go by. And I'm gonna shock that whole group of boom cannons and mortars in the back there, and then start respawning troops. And this is working out beautifully because the heavies that I've respawned and some mortars I've respawned are taking the brunt of the minefield there. Meanwhile, on the bottom, the attack's going pretty well, and luckily that mortar doesn't just took out a whole bunch of Zookas, but I still got more. And the battle's pretty much over at this point, and a real fast time of 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Lil Shu BQ. So he's using the cryo bombardiers, and again, it's a much slower attack, but assured of getting the kill. All right, we get an extra 5 stars for the win streak, and now we're level 17. So it's 5 times in a row win streak to get here. Once we opened up the troop health, it gets a lot easier. That's a pretty powerful node, especially with the heavy Zooka Kavan meta. All right, let's take a look at what Lil Shu BQ did. So he's landed 2 boats of heavies and 2 boats of cryo bombardiers on the bottom, and he's going to clear that out, and then he's going to land a second group of 4 on the left, on the far left. And because he has the heavies in the front, he doesn't really mind going through all those mines that I've got laid out there. Just going to weaken the heavies a little bit, not really do too much damage. And he put a shock down on my boom cannon in the back, otherwise it's going to start picking off his cryo bombardiers. Like that. Just pick one off. Okay, well, let's take a look at the tech tree now with this extra chest. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do with it. So the options are to save up some keys and go for the cryo bombardiers, which I am going to open at some point. But first, I really want to open up the cannon. And the reason for that is the global leaders have designed a few different base designs that incorporate the cannon in it, which make it impossible for the all-heavy rush to work. So that pretty much forecloses out the all-heavy rush as an option, and then we're down to the heavy Zooka. So I'll be going up against people with heavy Zooka 100% of the time. So we've redesigned the base with this new base design incorporating the cannons. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Please, if you did, subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and thanks as always to Hercules for the video editing.